Dalton officials They challenged the Super Mayor Henyard's appointment of the new police chief amidst allegations of, hey, it's illegal. Let's get into it. Here we go. Let's back up just a scooch. Watch this quick video.
Deputy Police Chief Lewis Lacy, fired for insubordination last week by the Dalton Village Board, is back, appointed by Tiffany Henyard as police chief. Trustees say it's an illegal appointment. Lacy was arraigned on federal bankruptcy fraud charges Thursday afternoon. It's alleged that he lied under oath in a scheme to hide assets and income from creditors.
Well, Mr. Lacy is absolutely not guilty of all 9 counts. I think the government...
So you say, Mr. Attorney, so you say. So not only did the super mayor, did Tiffany Henyard, the village fired Lewis Lacy, the acting police chief. They fired him, and then she rehired him, and he shows up at work even though he's been let go. He had been separated from the village. And then she hires somebody else, just basically makes the announcement, hey, by the way, we've hired this guy here. And that's what we're going to talk about. Even though it wasn't voted on by the council at all, it just wasn't even brought up. She just one-sided did this and said, oh no, I'm the mayor. I can do it. Well, then why do you have these votes where, you need a quorum? You need a majority of the folks on the city council and the village council to say yay or nay. Dalton, Illinois faces a contentious situation following Mayor Tiffany Henyard's appointment of Ronald Burge Sr. as the new police chief, stirring allegations of illegality by village trustees. Hey, super mayor, what are you doing? You can't do that. I mean, that's literally what they're stating. And they're stating, we have to, take this in front of our attorneys and figure out what in the F is going on, because Mayor Henyard she has gone rogue and she's doing whatever she can to try and keep those tentacles of power going. And she's losing them one by one by one. Last week, Stan Brown, he basically flipped. He was one of her longtime allies, Tiffany Henyard's allies. He showed up at a meeting where Tiffany Henyard did not show up. That was looked at as one of the last kind of remaining on the village council members to make a decision to maybe possibly not go down with the ship, with the captain of the ship. According to NBC Chicago, trustees claim the appointment was made without the village board's consent, prompting them to seek legal counsel on the matter. You've got attorney's fees being spent left, right, and center here, not only on lawsuits against the village. I mean, you've got dozens and dozens of lawsuits, right? And some very expensive ones in there. You've got those going on to the point where their errors and omissions insurance, the village of Dalton, has exponentially gone up. It's one of the reasons that their budget is so upside down. Burge, who previously served as the Dixmoor Police Department and competed against Henyard in Dalton's 2021 mayoral race, steps into the role amid a background of controversy. Not only due to Henyard currently being under federal investigation for alleged misuse of municipal funds, but also owing to the trustees' staunch opposition. The trustees have been in contact with an attorney regarding this very issue they deem as a breach of proper protocol. Tiffany Henyard, she realized that she was losing the power struggle. This is all a massive, massive power struggle. So she tried to keep her guy in there, Lewis Lacy. And the village said, no, guy's under indictment. He gave himself overtime pay, gave himself a couple $100,000 in overtime pay over the course of the last 3 years. And his contract says that he's a salaried employee. He's not eligible for overtime. But you know what? She gave it to him anyway. And now we're arguing about it. Hey, you can't do that. Yes, I can. It's literally like children, right? It's this children conflict where you just have to go to a parent, a judge, and say, hey, this is what she did. This is what they did. Give us a ruling. Henyard's office has not responded to requests for comment, never does, which adds to the community's tension and raises more questions regarding due process and governance in the village. Board of Trustees member Kiana Belcher, in an interview obtained by WGN News. Let's take a look at that.
A surprise new boss at the Dalton Police Department. WGN News has learned Ronald Burge Sr. started work Friday, appointed by Mayor Tiffany Henyard.
Several officers have called stating that he has taken a car away from one of the commanders. He went to go try to purchase a uniform already.
But members of the Board of Trustees argue without their approval, his hiring isn't legitimate and the village won't pay him.
It's an illegal appointment. This is just about how can I get them back. It's about retaliation.
The appointment comes during a power struggle in the village and the department. The board fired the former acting chief, Henyard ally Lewis Lacy, and officers presented a unified vote of no confidence against him. He's also pleaded not guilty to federal bankruptcy fraud charges.
This person has the same level of unprofessionalism as Lewis Lacy, and we've experienced the Ronald Burge episode before, as the chief had several lawsuits and unethical behavior, and that's not the direction that we want Dalton Police Department to go in.
A search of a federal court database shows Burge has been named as a defendant in at least 4 lawsuits in recent years. The majority involve allegations of political or employment retaliation. The outcomes of the lawsuits couldn't be immediately determined. Burge is known in the south suburbs. He ran against Henyard in the 2021 mayor's race, and he's previously served as police chief in Harvey and Dixmoor too, though his state certification is currently listed as inactive.
And we cannot provide those services if we don't have what's required of us.
As chief in Dixmoor, he pulled officers off the street in 2021, accusing the village of not providing the supplies they needed to do the job. His son, a commander with the same name, served under him there, and he was charged in 2019 of aggravated battery and official misconduct in an encounter caught on camera at the police station. Here's what the elder Burge told WGN News before his son was convicted.
I am proud of my son. Make no doubt about it. And if I thought that my son did anything wrong or out of order, believe me, as a father, as the chief of police, I would not hesitate to do what I have to do.
Trustees aren't hesitating now. They plan to go to court to fight his hiring.
I just feel like no one's coming to save us, us as trustees or the community.
You got a mayor that's gone absolutely rogue, and she's making these appointments, and it's wild stuff. It's an illegal appointment. We have an ordinance that says she's supposed to go through the board of trustee member Kiana Belcher said the village will not pay Burge, whose appointment comes during a power struggle in the village and the department. The board fired the former acting chief, Lewis Lacy. Then they tried to hire somebody else. Remember that? Just for a split second? Yeah, and that didn't work out. So now she's gone to what in previous has been a legit chief of police. But whether he's got all those lawsuits, who's arguing that? No, what you've got going on is a huge power struggle. And will it end up in court? I don't think so. I mean, this is straight up, it's illegal. She just one-sidedly, Super Mayor Tiffany Henyard, she just one-sidedly, single-handedly said, let's see, you're the new police chief. And she can't do that. She doesn't have the legal ability to do that. So, and we'll find that out after a bunch of court hearings and, just more money down the drain that doesn't need to be spent in a village that is already wildly upside down with their current budget. Village commissioner goes on to say, he will not get paid, village trustee. He will not get paid by the village of Dalton, Belcher said. Okay, good. How do we have so many people getting hired, then fired, then rehired, without anybody being able to, unequivocally state, this is what we're doing and this is how it's going down? There is just such lack of leadership here. Not only, it's like they've just crumbled. They've just fallen apart. And Tiffany Henyard's just doing whatever the F she wants. And she's getting away with it. She's kind of getting away with it. It's wild. She's having these parties, spending thousands and thousands of dollars in township of Thornton. And you got the village of Dalton. And, she's not letting people into town meetings. All kinds of just crazy shenanigans going on. And this is just one of the small storylines that recently has been, it's been impactful because she's trying to bring in a new chief of police and she's not doing it, from a legal standpoint, from a legal background. Trustees plan to fight the appointment in court. WGN News reached out to representatives for Henyard and have not heard back. That's common all the time. WGN reporter Jenna Barnes also went inside the department to talk to Burge Sr., but was told he wasn't there. Yeah, he's working here, but he is not here today. The whole thing is just a massive mess, isn't it? Yeah, this is that one story of when fired, hired, fired. That was with Lewis Lacy. He is out of there now. He has been separated. He has been fired. He is gone. And so they're lacking a police chief at the moment. And so Tiffany Henyard sees this as opportunity to just jump in, do her thing. Now, another storyline that I'll do a separate podcast on is Tiffany Henyard illegally charged over $16,000 to township taxpayers for a political campaign event. The argument is that she had her name all over. I mean, like on the tents, and you've got the, whatever you want to market on the tents, not on the tent, the angled part, but on kind of the front flap. She's got Tiffany Henyard all over that. She's got Tiffany Henyard all over Township of Thornton and Village of Dalton. She's got that all over. And so this is Illinois Leaks. They are stating that all the money she spent on this ridiculous amount of stuff was taxpayers' money that was billed and paid for this campaign event, and that was all illegal. They're stating, hey, she needs to be locked up because she had this massive event. When was that? I think the 1st of September, something like that. Was it? It was the Saturday of Labor Day weekend. And she had a massive party. She spent literally $85K, and, $16,000 of that, this entity here, Illinois Leaks, has determined, that was money spent on a campaign event. Township of Thornton spent all that money on what ended up being a campaign event, which is a huge, huge no-no. But I'll get into that on a separate podcast. But, just one more thing you kind of throw in the mix of all these shenanigans, all of this craziness that's happening in Dalton and Township of Thornton. And this will continue. This will continue because Tiffany Henyard will not lie down and go quietly into the night. That's not how she's going to handle this. So she'll go out in absolute flames. What will happen with the FBI probes that are ongoing? I think they will find her guilty of some unethical behavior. I don't know if they will find large scale misappropriation or misuse of funds. They're going to find some misuse of funds, but on the huge scale that I think people are convinced that she's going to do prison time for, I don't know. I'm not seeing it. And given the way that this kind of works, high profile individual, first Black woman and youngest Black woman mayor ever in Chicago and in Illinois, are they going to be, hot to trot to throw her in jail? The optics aren't good, right? Doesn't look good for a local girl to be going to prison for a considerable amount of time for shenanigans from within the office. I don't see that happening. Does she do any time? Who knows? This is Chicago, though, right? This is Chicago. Anything goes. One of my other stories earlier today was Trende Aragua. They're starting to bang heads with the gangs that are already established in Chicago. And we're looking for a big, big conflict at some point in time, kind of just like the Warriors back from the 1970s. If you know that reference, you know what I'm talking about. Oof, they went crazy, didn't they? Yeah. All right. That's it for me on this one. Thanks so much for being here. I'll catch up with you in the next one. Bye for now.